Hello everybody, welcome to this tutorial for Jevero. In this tutorial we're going to take a scan data file and we're going all the way through the process of creating the whole model. We will not skip any step and we will show a few tricks that we can do to speed up our work and to make things easy for everybody. So, a brief introduction. Jevero is a plugin for Rhinoceros that is dedicated to creating a shoe. So a shoe model and patterns that are later going to be sent to cutting tables and cut to create models and prepare models for mass production or just production. So it contains everything that goes from the design of a shoe to the grading, so creating the various sizes of a shoe. So here we are inside Rhino, and as soon as you install it, you see the toolbars that are peculiar to Jevero, these bars over here, and the panels. I'm not going to go through the differences between Rhino and Jevero, but we're just going to start a shoe. So we have the 4 panels here, but we only want to use the XY panel, the one I'm pointing with the mouse. So to quickly access just the top panel, we double click on the word top here on this label. And with the mouse wheel, I'm zooming out. And this is our workboard. So this area here is a workboard. Here we have the design tools. Here we have a few toolbars. And here we have the panels. For my own convenience, I use layers, properties, and help over here. The entity filter over here, but it's optional and I don't use it too often. And here I have the 3 Jevero panels. So this is the most important. Parts. This is the most important. I'll leave it first. Here we have grading. This is grasshopper that we don't need it. And this is pattern properties. So first off, when we start a shoe, we want to import a scan. And we can do this by clicking on this button, import scan data and align it with the current model. And I will import it. So select it, click OK, and now we'll have this window. And we can pick 2 points or just say OK and place it. See, I have the cursor. The command bar is telling me pick point. I'll click and it will place the scansion in the middle. So what it does actually is it creates a new layer called background image, and it's locked. So when you have locked objects, you cannot select them. You cannot do anything. Now I am clicking and it stays there. You can only move around. You can hide the layer. You can show the layer, and you can do the same here. Hide, show. You see that whenever I click here, also the little lamp goes off, because what it's doing is it's hiding the layer containing this image. So if you want more image other than this one, you will drag and drop an image inside here, move it, and then lock it. We lock it to make sure we don't select it accidentally and we don't move it, since we want the lines to be over this scan. So there are these buttons, but I prefer to use the layer panel. So now it's locked, and I can move around holding the right mouse button. I can pan around. With the wheel I can zoom in and out, and I can operate and select by using the left click. So I will start tracing now. So let me premise that I am not a pattern engineer, so pardon my technical mistakes. I will show a few tricks to create better lines, have a better quality of a file, but I will have to ask you to pardon my errors, which I will surely make in creating the pattern, but just bear with me for the purpose of going through this tutorial. So I will pick my pencil tool to start tracing the line. We see that we have the default layer that is active. By clicking on this column, you can activate it. You can see it also here. You can see which layer is active, and if you select it and activate it, the line that you will draw will be the color and the style that you decide. You can move it also by selecting, going down here and changing, and you will move layer. So many people prefer to create different layers with different line colors in order to have a better distinction of on what you're doing. So for example, lateral and medial differences, or just for different functions inside the shoe, they will use different colors. I just use a basic distinction between lateral and medial. I will not use any more colors because I think that we can manage visibility in so many ways inside Rhino that it's another way of adding confusion, in my opinion. But of course, Rhino lets you decide whichever workflow that you think fits the best your style. So I will pick the pencil and start tracing. I am not afraid of going really in with the zoom, because that's how you get the highest precision. And that's how you create a line. So what you do is you pick the pencil, left click, left click, left click, left click. Once you've placed the last point, you right click and the line will be there. So I just went left click, left click, left click, and then right click to end the curve. Right, so you can also double click on a curve to see the control points, and also click once and use F10 to highlight the control points. So what I did was, since the point was here and I wanted to go a little bit further, I double clicked and then moved it. In Jevero, I prefer to go a little extra a little extra inch over the end of the line, because I like my intersections to be very visible. If you like to be precise and go to the exact point, my trick is to create a command that already adds a little bit at the beginning and the end of the curve you just drawn, so that you can be precise and also really underline the intersections. So I go by pressing Q and space, and you see that it automatically creates a command that has extend by 15 added inside it. So how do you do this? You go over to the options and go over to this panel, aliases. You see that Q has this command here. This is the way you type it. So the name of the command and then the extra, please is not, don't know why it was there. And then you add the additional options after the name of the command, just with a space. So, okay. I press Q and I can, with the snaps, start drawing. Oh, sorry, it's this one. So that if I complete my line, I'll be as quick as possible. You see that I ended here, but it went a little bit more further, and here as well. So I'll stop and begin. I will now create this lateral or medial line. And here another trick that I created for myself is Control D to duplicate a line so that I can pick this point and move it. So, how did I do that? I created a command that goes to Control D as the keyboard shortcut. Control D, and I pasted two commands. The first is copy to clipboard and then paste. So that in this way, Rhino will receive two commands, consequential, that are copy and then paste again. And I put it on Control D because it stands for duplicate, so it's easier to remember for me, because the command just duplicates a line. And then I pressed F10 and I moved the two lines. An advantage of this is that if we highlight these two curves, let me hide the scan, you will see that the line, when it's overlapping, will be exactly on the same spot. This is very convenient for maybe editing. So if you highlight both lines, you will have 2 points. And if you need to edit them together, it will be more consistent in the editing compared to just creating two lines that are on top of each other. So the duplication of a line has the purpose of, one, being more quick and a convenient way to just create a line that has more or less the same length and then you move, but also copying the line and editing only in the points that you need is convenient from a building the model standpoint. So we'll highlight the curves again. Here we will make a margin, but first I will create a couple more parts, so more baselines, like this, and like this. In Rhino, every line and every curve are a function, like a mathematical function. So whenever it's a straight line, it means that it crosses 2 points, and so that if you put 2 points, it will mean that the curve has a grade 2, so that it goes to 3 points, 2 points, and it means that it's a straight line. Every curve that goes through 3 or more points is a parabolic, or whatever maths comes after the parabolic, which I don't know, but just to give you an idea of how it works, I will create simple lines and then curves. So why did I do this? Because I know that this will be a straight line and this is a curve, so I can, just for an aesthetical standpoint, I'm not sure, I can trim this part away so that I know that this curve is how I wanted it and this is perfectly straight. So it's very convenient, and I'm sure that the curve has the flow that I want. I can join with this button and make one. Make sure that the join button, the join lines are overlapping when you trim, or are at least crossing each other when you trim and when you join, because the join button works only if the end point of a curve is exactly the same point of the beginning of the other. So did this, then we can do this. I'll do another sort of trick. You see that I'm doing this. So I made 2 straight lines, but here we have a curve. So what I can do is select the curves, select my pop-up, and use fillet. Now it's not exactly perfect, but I can change the radius to 10, let's say, and it will create a line that is like this, and then of course we can join. This is a very beautiful curve, if I do say so myself. So I will go on with this. I'm stealing this this can from a course that we made here in our area, and it's very useful to show a little bit of tricks that you can do in Rhino to create a model that is beautiful from the data standpoint. So I have this. I will now do the curve here. So I'm doing this to show every step and just every moment of the process, so that it can be convenient for everybody. You can skip, you can go faster in these parts, but I will not cut it. So this is sort of the thing I made. Then I like to adjust it. This, by moving, you see that the command says nudge. I'm holding Alt and the arrow keys so that it will move of 0.2 whatever measure unit that you have. Here I have millimeters, so it will move by 0.2 millimeter, the point. So I'll move it a little bit just to make it smoother. I will make this point pass through the line pass through the point, so that the curve comes out beautiful. I'm not really paying attention to the scan a lot. I just like to come out beautiful. So here I noticed before that the lines don't intersect, and I might want later to intersect, so I'll drag the last point over here. I'm not sure now, but just in case, I will always highlight my intersection. I will grab this line here, same thing here. All right, then I'll make this line. I'll use the Q and go, and go over here, and then do something like this. And then grab the pencil and go like this. It is always a matter of getting the feel for the curve. So now we have these two curves and we can fill it again, but the radius will be probably more like 20. Sorry, it's not 20, it's a little bit less, so I'll say 16. Perfect. This, I made hundreds of mistakes before getting it right. It's probably not 16, it's 17, I'm not sure, but once you get a feel, the fact that you cannot see it in real time will not be an issue. It's just a matter of feel. So this curve is pretty decent because it's very straight, and then it's very smooth over here. So I'll duplicate it and take this part. I'll just take one, press F10 and move the curve. I will adjust it. All right. So we can make it longer a little bit. I know this is very tedious to watch, but I'm having fun. So this is done. I need to duplicate here also, and then press F10, grab these points, and move move them like this. Nudge, nudge, nudge a little bit more, and that's all right. So now I guarantee that the lines are perfectly the same here, but they differ here. So this is missing, and this part too, and this part too. So you have many ways of doing this. You can use fillets. I will just do it very quickly now. Once you go, your trajectory with the curve becomes more straight, you can also use more space between one point and the other. You see here the points are very close because it's a very steep curve. We're working in a grade 3, of course, degree 3 curve. I'll duplicate it, F10, and I'll move the points. Same thing. And then here I can F10, grab all these points and highlight the intersection. So you can see it over here, no overlapping. It's very convenient. I like this to be a little bit smoother, like this. Good. So this is what we're going with right now. Of course, I'm speaking, I'm explaining. Once you learn all these tricks, it's very quick. There is an option to create perpendicular lines from a certain line. I will now just go like this. Rhino offers many curve options. For example, if you go over, right click, show toolbar, there is curve tools. Curve tools. This toolbar here is very convenient. I'll show you what I was talking about. It is it's probably in curves, curve drawing. Perpendicular from is on curve drawing. Perpendicular, tangent and perpendicular, so that you see any point you pick, it's perpendicular from the curve. Very convenient. And tangent too. You pick a curve and then whatever you pick will be tangent. Yeah. That was just to show a little bit. Normally I use these options over here. So now we're almost done. We just are missing this. I will do it, let's say, I will do it like this. You can, of course, find most pattern engineers watching this are probably rolling their eyes, but yeah, that's how I do it. Yeah, this we'll take care of later. This could be, I can do it, but also we can take a look at the margins from this point on. I'll just suspend. And we're back. So we will take a look at margins. I will have to create a margin from these two lines to these. So how can I do it? I can pick both lines, select margin, and it will be a contextual menu that changes whether if you pick one line or more than one line. So now I will pick two, and with the mouse wheel, I will go over here. I'm just going, I think it's 18. Yeah, something like that. You see here it changes a little bit. And here it's definitely off. So I'll just say okay for now. And there is one function that is here, grips on margin points. So the grips, which also I have on my pop-up, I can activate and it will highlight the grip points so that I can move the two lines. So like this. And I will do it again. Just more or less. So if you grab both points, they will move together, always to keep the position like we were saying before. So here it's a little off. The way you can correct it is add a point. So I will add this point here and say that here it's a little bit more like this, 19.80. I will do the same, right click, excuse me, edit, and say 19.80. So now it follows a little bit more. I will move this. All right. It is like this. If you're not satisfied, you can always redo it. You can always work on it. For example, here it's not exactly the same. Well, this is not too bad, but we can also convert these to baselines and then later on make them behave like margins. We can do it properly from the get-go. And yeah, this is, since we're going to mirror only one of these, it is okay. So now we have this situation. What else are we missing? This. So I will create a new margin, flip it, and say it's probably 10 or something. Yeah, 10. This is all right. I can also create a new line that goes again by 10, enable the grip, and go like this. And if there is any issue, but I think that this is okay, I'll be back. So we're over here. We can also enable the grips here. and go a little bit more like this, so that they end more or less on the same part, on the same point. We can also shorten this by doing, you can do it in many ways, but yeah, I like to keep my points. All right, so this is our situation. It's pretty good, and we will make many changes, and we'll create a few parts now. Before we go into the parts, I would like to talk about a little bit about what I use on my pop-up. So one thing that I use is the zoom to extend. So this button, that is a button that I have created, is a zoom that whenever you click it, you can select and it will zoom on the object. And of course, if you select multiple objects, it will place them in the center. So it's very convenient. It's a macro that I have created that you can do by say new button, and as the keyboard shortcut and the aliases, you will put the command here and the text, and you can even create an icon. So I just made this little scope lens, you know, just to say zoom, and I made it to selected so that the zoom command goes to the selected area. So that if I want to be very quick to just highlight something that I want to see, I'll just do it like that. I also have this button and this button that I use quite a lot. This is to, we'll talk about this and we'll see this later. This will select all entities that are of the same type. So if I select, for example, a margin and click this, it will select all the margins across what I see. And then with isolate, I can isolate and just see what I need. And then on the visibility options, I just dragged out with control selected objects, isolate, and yeah, this is mostly what I use for visibility. I have fillet, which is in curve tools. I have some rebuild options, which is all right. There are many rebuilding options for lines in Rhino, and other tools that I like to use. This will zoom to everything that is inside my model, so that if you're making a line over here and you're working over here, pay attention, because it's going to zoom to whatever you have on your screen, on your workboard more. So now we have this, and we'll start creating a few parts. So this is our complete model. This is the one I made in a course some time ago. I will just take this as a reference because I can't remember which line is which and what I have to select every time. So I will do it by watching this. So first off, you see that we are on the pattern parts panel. So here you have your list of parts. We have our list of parts, and this is Camicia, which is the shell. And we have some axes, and some green lines and some black lines that are marked as lateral and medial, external and internal. So I will now go ahead and create the axes, which are nothing less than just picking the style of a line, the color, activating and selecting the line. So this will be the same, this button, and also something like this. If I remember correctly, I will extend them. Right click is to repeat the last command used, so I will be very quick in extending the lines. I'll just go over and be very exaggerated just to show what I'm doing. So I have this, which is default, double click and call it lateral, oh, spelling, and make this green, light green like this, and call it medial. Then with the arrows I can move them, and this I can call axis. And now I can go like this and pick. This is optional, of course you don't have to do it. I'll just show it for the sake of it. This, and this. I can take them and move them to medial. They will change color. I just use these, so these are the ones that are used the most. So I just change these. Then of course you can hide them. If you prefer the black one to overlap and be visible, there is a command that is called bring to front, so that it will make them the highest object. I can do it for every line. You see, I am selecting, right click to repeat the command, and I'll bring everything to front. This, I will change property, go over display color and say by layer, and it will change the color. So it will keep being a margin, but it will be green. In Jevero, we differentiate by entity and not by the type. It's just a workflow like another. So I will pick these two lines. Oh, there is just this one. That's all right. I will move it to medial and change the color by layer. My suggestions is go over all the lines and then distribute between the various layers, just if you have to, if you want to use them. So this is our shell. What we can do with this is sort of save this visualization, which are the lines that we're going to use the most, and create a new part. In a new feature that we added in this new version of Jevero, excuse me, is call it upper sole or shell. So depending of the property, some different things will happen. If we take the shell, we will have some advantageous features that only a shell will have. For example, you will not add objects automatically to this shell. So, and it will not be activated like other parts. This is to ensure that whoever wants to work with a shell part can without influencing other workflows and other styles. So it's entirely optional, and I will explain this more in detail going on, but the difference between this software and most of the other softwares for pattern engineering is that we're using the power of Rhino to create patterns, and the cost is it's very advantageous. It's very useful, quick, and powerful, and it has a cost of using the structure that Rhino gives us. So the main difference, for example, one of the main differences is that a line is always a line. It does not make a difference when where it is, how you're viewing it, if you hide it, if you edit it, that line will always be a line, so that how can I say this better? It will be the same across all the parts, and if you edit it, it will edit everything that is coming after, let's say, the dependent entities of that line. So it is very important to understand that lines will be here and parts are just different ways to view and manage our lines. A part is just what you see is contained in this layer, and that's it. Some other softwares contain sort of like a layer style management. Here, everything is over here. It's just a matter of how of seeing it in a certain way, with certain features. So parts are at the same time, it's a very simple and very hard concept, because they are just visualizations of the lines. Let's say I create a part like this. I was here, I will move it to lateral. Okay. And now I'll take this and create this part. This part uses these lines. But if you go ahead and edit the line that goes under, the line will be modified because it's the same line. It is a very important concept and a thing to always keep in mind while using Jevero, because you don't have different versions of a line depending on a part. This is a very important distinction between Jevero and other softwares. So I'm being as specific and clear as possible for this reason. It is very important to know this while working. This, I'm not sure this is even a part that can exist, but yeah. This line is generated by all these lines. So if we toggle this, we'll see the generating lines. What does this mean? Is that this boundary that I have created quickly, and we'll see later on how to do it in detail, is involved, is the result of different lines intersecting each other. This, the axis, and then this margin. The margin is from this line, so you will see also this line. This and this is another important aspect of using Jevero, because the dependency tree, as we call it, lets you build a model and edit it very quickly. But also you have to keep in mind what you're doing, which is fair if you're working on a shoe. So if I edit and move the line, the margin will move and the boundary will move. And if we had a notch over here, this will move as well. So I hope I made this clear. And yeah, I'll be back. So this is the complete model, and we'll take a look on how to do this color part. So it's this. We'll go over our model and try. So first thing, we want to mirror the medial. This, hit the mirror button, hit the axis, and this is what we have. The mirror button works like most Rhino commands. It works both ways. So you can hit the command and it will ask you which curves you want to mirror. Excuse me. And then press enter and then select the axis. But if you select the lines and then hit the curve and the mirror button, it will just make you select the axis. So the command goes in 2 or more steps in Rhino, but these type of things are interchangeable. So you can select the line and then the command, or the command and then select the lines. It depends on what you prefer and the conveniency of the moment. So now I mirrored the medial lines and I click on the boundary tool. This will make me create a path. And then I will right click, and I will create a boundary. Now, when I create a boundary, you see the yellow path. Yellow means that something is selected. Boundaries are white color. Of course, you can change whichever color you prefer. In the options, you can use, we use white color for boundaries. You select, and then since it's already selected, we can go under parts, panel, and hit plus, create new parts, and it will give us the preview. Here I write color. Not sure if this is the right word, but I say OK. And then I unselect, hit color, and I have my part. So the part, it works like this. So we have this part. We will now create this Tomaya, the outside shell. So I mirror this. I will mirror these. Then we'll see how to put a marker and to put these. So let's go over our model. I will have to mirror, let's see, yeah. Just roughly, I'll mirror this. I will mirror this. And also this. This, actually, I don't need it. Mirror, axis. Yeah. Now, select boundary. 1, 2. Excuse me if I'm doing something wrong, but you know, I'm not a pattern engineer. So I'll just show this new part. Okay. Now I'll double click and I'll see this. Now what I want to do is add some markers here and here. What can I do? So I'll take the shell, take this, and put a marker over here. This is the marker button. You can select it, then select the line and select the width you want to make. And then you will mirror. And then with holding shift, we can grab these and this and right click and say add selected objects. So this is green because it's mirrored, but it has the same features as a marker. It is indeed a marker. Now, you see that here we don't have exact precision. We can always try to make it like this. Here as well. Here it's more or less okay, and I will put a notch soon. So now what I want to do is put a stab here and a notch here. I will select my part and activate the generating lines. Now I will select the axis which I need and then untoggle the generating lines. Whenever you have something selected and go over to another visualization, you'll bring that thing with you in the new visualization. So what I did was have this part and the axis. Now I will take a stab on intersection. I will take the boundary and the axis. And this will be on my intersection. So I will say diameter is around, it's always around 2. And I'll say 2 for the distance. And then if you flip, it will be here. Sometimes it will do this because it's the same line and the same intersection, but we can delete it. You can delete, which is not, again, sorry if I'm being I'm insisting on this, but deleting something from the model is removing the line forever. But if we remove or add lines to the parts, those will remain even if we remove them from a part. So this is very important. It's just a matter of these are things that you want to see right now. So I'll grab the notches, single notch. I'll select my boundary, which is the line I want to put my notch on, and then select intersection, which will pick the intersection and like this. And this is my part. I want to put a notch for the medial to highlight the medial, so single notch and say distance, and I'll say this. And for the cutting machine to go quick, I'll just flip and I'll make it, maybe 1.3. No, 1. Let's see, 1 and then 0.5. Enough, 5 is enough. And I'll put some corner, round corner. So the cutting table not sure what happened here. All right. So this is our part, and we'll see another one. So let's go on with our parts. This is the padding. So it is similar to the color, but it's the filling, you know, to make it soft, the padding. This is similar, except there is a line like this and nothing else, I think. Of course, it's mirrored and the parts are the same. So I will try to be as quick as possible. You know, we already have this, which is basically the same. I will make this line like it is, more or less. I will copy it. It's more or less like this, right? I'll put it here and mirror. Now we take this boundary and we duplicate it. We edit and put these two here, and then create the new part. Basically the same part, but with two different lines. You see that there are smooth corners all over here. Here, here. How do we do this? So we can grab the smooth corner, activate the part, grab the smooth corner, grab the boundary. Oh, sorry, it's this. Okay, grab the smooth corner, select the boundary, and say, yeah. I'll say 15. Right click to repeat the command, right click, left click, right click, select, left click, right click, okay. And right, left click, and yeah. Okay. To make comparisons, you can do this. You can activate the generating lines. You see there is a smooth corner now. It's blue, it's an entity, and this is what our shoe is starting to look like. Of course, I'm not a pattern engineer. Again, I care about this message. I'm not good at making shoes. I just try to explain the best workflows that I found out using this tool. I'll be back. And I am back. A few seconds later, we will make this now. So this is a little more complicated. We're going deep. There is this kind of angle that we have not added, and then this outside part is not symmetrical. It goes like this, and then it has all this part over here. So let's check our model. I will for sure need to mirror this. Let's wait a little bit. I'll just highlight the shell by double clicking on it. You see that for the shell, if you double click on a part, it has this big green tick. But if you double click on a shell, it does not. This is because a shell has a special feature of not being as other parts, but just a further way of visualizing a group of lines that you need to stay in a group. So in order to have this part, I will have this. Okay, I will have this. I will select the lines that I need. Okay, so this, then I think this, right? Yeah. This, and that's it. Also these for the markers. So I will select it. Why do I select it? Because I can isolate. Oh, I forgot the axis. So Control A to select everything. Double click on the part. Shift, add the axis to my selection. And I'm back. So I'm sure there is a specific rule to make this kind of curve, but I don't know it, so I will just go a little bit like this and just snap, use the snaps to connect to the other lines. So if you want to make it better, just make it like this, and then we are set. These are all the lines we need. We have nothing selected. We are just working on this group of lines. So what I want to do is mirror this, and for sure this. Good. Then we want to mirror, I think, this part too. Yes. I'm seeing that, of course, these are not matching, so I will have to match them like this. So now I have a clear path to a boundary. So I will have to mirror this, which is correct. I will go through here. I'll put markers here. All right. Start with a boundary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and etc. And I have my part. So now I can create it and say this is telaio. It's Italian. I'm not sure what it means. So I'll find out later and say okay. Now I want to activate the part and put the markers on it. So select the markers, excuse me, click Ask button, select the line you want to put the markers on, right click, okay, and that's it. I also want this line. This is a margin at 12. So we'll, do a 12 margin. All right. And select the line and make this you see that when a part is active, it markers and other lines add automatically. So because you want them to be part of the pattern, the part. So I will have to mirror this as well. So I can grab everything and mirror it. But yeah, this I don't need because they go outside. And here I can use the grip on the marker to make it shorter. If you want a different pattern, you can make a new marker. I just mirrored it and this is it. I also want this. So I don't have this line, but now I have my part here that is almost complete. I will go over to the shell, grab this line, and take it back with me on this part. And put a couple of markers. Right click. I want them to be on the opposite side. I don't know the criteria to put this, the markers, but yeah. You know how to put them, just I'm showing just to be quick and yeah. New part in a few minutes. So, this is always my complete model. Let's see if we have any leftovers here. Oh, there is a marker here, but we'll take care of that later. That's it. Let's go over to the tongue. The tongue is like this. So uses this line, this, and then, oh, a sprung line. So let's see how to do this. We basically will bend this, this, and this. Let me see. I will mirror these lines, and then we will have, yeah, we'll have to make this kind of arc here, this. This. I will select everything I need to just get a clearer view. This line too. Okay. Now, I think we will have to make a new line. We use this, but then we go over it. So we'll have to make a margin here at 2, perhaps 3, and move it this way. Now this line, I can convert it to a regular line and partialize it. So using this button, I can select everything I want and leave what I don't want. Also, I will need to match these two curves like this. So I'm making this up if you don't see it by yourself, but I just care about making something that looks could be real. Oops. Something like this. Is it? Not really, but we're getting closer. So this is my axis. That we will see later. But we will have to mirror this. So this is my tongue. I can mirror it. And of course, I'll take this and isolate so that it's even easier. I will grab these lines, yeah. Isolate. And also I will need to create this kind of thing over here, so margin. Okay. Then we can see on the pattern properties that there is this convenient function here, and then something like this, and then take the axis, grab everything, add the axis to the selection, isolate again, and mirror this, right? So we can do this, and here this is not connecting, so we can see that there are these lines that are on the margin that are not connecting. So what we can do here is make them a little longer. And make them cross. This will not cross. As you can see, I'm not afraid of just going in with the zoom. Now it will work. Yeah. And create a new part. So I know that this is not the same tongue as the one that was in the previous model, but just to show how we can work around maybe also something that we're not sure it's right. Yeah, it's a way to work around and learn what you're doing in order to avoid or quickly correct mistakes or yeah, things we don't like, make corrections, make modifications on the go. Hello everybody, welcome back. We are here and we are going to continue with creating more parts until we're over. Now I've recreated this file, I have my parts, I've worked on the tongue so that it's better. So now we can see more clearly where it comes from. Okay. Now, something that I wanted to show before going on, it's the select by color function. If you show the toolbar, and I'm pretty sure it's selection, select, these are all types of selection that you can make. So there is select by layer, invert selection, so you will select everything but the thing you've selected. Select all, which is also can be done with Ctrl+A. Select previous selection, etc. There is also, which I'm not seeing here, but there should be, is this, select by color. So if you use layers with different colors, you can use this to select a specific color and it will select all the things with the same color. So now that I have this, I can invert selection, for example. Invert, invert selection. It's not working. Well, let me bring this out again. So first off, yeah, and then like this, and then I can go bring to front. So now I have all the black lines on top. There are many selection modes in Rhino, and as Rhino is particularly full of commands and functions and buttons, I recommend checking them and getting to know all the toolbars, at least for what concerns 2D, so curves and points. Something that is useful is this help panel over here, which updates if you check this auto update checkbox. You will be able to see updating with all the commands. So it's available for Rhino commands and for Jevero. Let's try this. It will update with the with the select color command, and we'll show you how it works and where you can find it.